Okay. All right, so today what we're going to talk about is business plan. We're going to review your business. We're going to talk about your why as to how that relates to this business and why that's important. We're going to actually talk about a structured 1-3-5 business plan, and we're also going to talk about tracking. So those are the things that are on the agenda today. Okay, so in your handouts, and I'll pull it up here in just a second, you should see the first page is what's called a SWOT analysis. And you want to be thinking about your business from the perspective of you as an individual, if you are an individual realtor, or you and your teammate if you're on a team. And, you know, you could do this at every level. You could do this from Harry Norman's perspective. You can do this from, you know, at varying levels, your office's perspective. But I think what would probably be most helpful for most of you as agents is to think about it from that real estate agent perspective, you as the business, or you and your partner, your team as the business. And what we're going to do is we're going to just evaluate what the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats are. And I'm going to explain what those are here. So a strength is an internal positive attribute of your business. And a weakness is something that is a negative factor that detracts from your strengths. These are things that you might need to improve on to be competitive. Examples include your expertise, education, network, skills, all of these things that are on this list. Reputation, systems and processes, location, customers, equipment, all of these things, they are internal attributes of your business. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It's what you bring to the table as your business entity. Okay. Now, the opposite of that is the external, the opportunities and threats. So opportunities are things that you can obviously take advantage of that are external to your business. And that would be things like current and potential competitors, the pandemic, the economy, market trends, customer shopping trends, all of this. And this can either be something that, you know, you're not going to really have control over these things because they're external to you. However, you've got to navigate how to get around them, how to use them either to your advantage or know to not step on that landmine. So take a few minutes and you know, look or write down what a few strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. And no one is showing me their face, so I can't really tell if you are done or not. If you could give me some sort of indication, maybe, hello. If you could give me some sort of indication, either pops on the screen and, you know, give me the thumbs up, or write something in the group chat just to let me know that you're kind of wrapping that up so that we can talk about it in a minute. I'll give you a few minutes to work on that. Okay, it looks like some of you are done. So I'd like to get, an idea of what you see as some of your strengths and weaknesses. You'll need to turn on your volume, your sound.
Hey, Mary Beth, it's Sharon. Can you hear?
Hey, how are you? Yes, I can hear you.
It's funny, I'm actually at a closing, and that's why you don't see me. I'm sitting in my car because we're not allowed to go in since we're not signing, but I'm here to pick up a contractor's check and hopefully my check. So, and my seller is not here, so it's all good. Um, but yeah, so I've done this a lot in my previous job with business planning, but I always find it a little bit more challenging when you're doing it for yourself, you know. So, but I just said some of my strengths I think are customer service and follow up, attention to detail. I'm very analytical, I think,
Mhm.
and supportive. And empathetic. And then I think the other strength that I kind of look at this as a strength within my business, because I'm a part of Harry Norman, is that we do have a very supportive staff, and I'm thinking, specifically within the East Cobb office, but we do have all the other tools and resources that are available to us through Harry Norman. Um, I guess some of my weaknesses is I hate the phone calling unless that everybody needs to do. It's just something I know that I need to work on. Um, and I think I'm pretty good at social media. I just don't think I instigate. I don't do it enough or do it regularly and systematically.
Mhm.
I think I pretty much understand it, um, but I think I could do it better. And um, and I think overall I'm a good time manager, but sometimes I feel like, oh gosh, there's not enough hours in the day. So I think, well, maybe there's some ways that I can improve my time management. So that was just a few of the things that I came up with.
I appreciate you sharing, and I love that you're multitasking. Thank you for joining us. I think we can all relate exactly to that situation.
Hence my
Um,
time management issue,
yeah.
right?
Well, I think that some of the weaknesses that you brought up, it's interesting. Those are things that really, when you're putting your business plan together, um, can really be helpful once you identify what those are, because then it's okay, making that a priority, making a goal around it, that sort of thing. And that's how you improve those. So for instance, it sounds like you're comfortable with social media, but maybe not systematic. Maybe the goal or focus that will come out of that is to put a plan in place so that and a reminder system or something on your calendar so that you're reminded to do that systematically, or sign up for a service so that you don't miss it or something like that. So I think that that's why this exercise is so important and can really help lay the foundation in place when you're thinking about your business plan, further steps as to what to focus on. Anybody else want to share?
Hey, Mary Beth, let me share.
Okay.
All right. For strengths, I have I'm energetic, bilingual, knowledgeable. I love real estate, and I'm do good follow up. Okay. For weaknesses, I am not too. And the other one is I also hate cold calls.
Well, and okay, so exactly the same point there. With cold calling, if we don't like cold calling and we're just going to bristle and not do it, let's not put it on our business plan as something that is an integral part of how to be successful. Let's put a different strategy on there, so that you will embrace and do it. And you don't have to be all things to all people, but we still have to get the job done. So I think that that's thank you for sharing that. That's an excellent list. All right, let's talk about opportunities and threats. What are some things that y'all put on there?
Mary Beth, this is Kate. I don't have much, but I'll tell you what I have.
Okay.
So for opportunities, I have one that's on the opportunity and the threat list. It's the same thing. So one is the election. Depending on what happens, it could present more opportunities or less in real estate. And another opportunity is that right now, because there's such a large buyer pool, it is an opportunity right now to go out there and get more listings. And, you know, I attended the Dunwoody class yesterday, and Todd really talked to us about how to go in the back end and find data points. And I went on a listing appointment yesterday, and it was very impactful. So now I have a little bit more confidence about how to present it, because a lot of times they don't believe you when you say this is a great time to sell, but those data points speak volumes. So that's what I have for opportunities. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I think you've hit the nail on the head that I could argue that most everything that is external could either be an opportunity or a threat, and it's just how you deal with it. And I want to share a real life example that doesn't have anything to do with real estate, but I think that it really showcases how you can take a threat and turn it into an opportunity. So my husband had worked in Sandy Springs forever and was getting his hair cut near his job. And then about 4 years ago, he transitioned to work from home. Well, for 3 years, he was going back down to Sandy Springs to get his hair cut. And then finally one day he's like, you know what, I'm just going to find some place near our home. And so he called the local place just down the corner. And the guy said, yeah, you know, you should make an appointment. You know, I prefer that, but you can come on in. I don't have anybody here. Well, month after month, he did that. And he never had any problem making an appointment. It was just, you know, he could go whenever. The guy was never busy, but he did a good job. So anyway, the pandemic happened, and he called one day to say, well, you know, can I come? And this was after things had opened up a little bit. And he said, well, actually, I am now traveling house to house. I'm doing house calls, so I don't have the shop anymore. And I'm busier than I've ever been. I'm a week out scheduling wise. And so you'll have to wait a week. And it's just, you know, that sort of example of everybody's dealing with the pandemic. It is definitely something that we do not have control over. But how do we find the need in that situation and make it an opportunity for ourselves and not a threat? Obviously, we have to be careful. Obviously, we have to, you know, watch out for the threatful part of that. But how can we take the situation and make it an opportunity? So just like you were saying with the election, I think that is case in point with that. And so I think those are good examples. Thank you. Anybody else want to talk about a different opportunity or threat they've thought of?
I think Sharon already had some good ideas. Kate were some good suggestions as well. With I see some of the opportunities. There's going to be delays in closing or listings. We already know that, but I think we can prepare ourselves over the next 12 months when things do get better. Because right now people are afraid about coming out, afraid to have people come in their homes. But that gives us an opportunity to look toward and start building those relationships that we may have been neglecting. Because people are inside, I find it's easier to find people, easier to get people because they're not going. So I don't think we do a lot of cold calling, at least I don't. I focus on the people that I know already. who I've not seen on the streets, but I know I can find them. And I think just reaching out to them, letting them know what you do and that, hey, things are going to get better and you're there for them, finding out about their lives and just staying in touch with them. So when the opportunity comes, because you know that you already know a little bit about them and what their situation is, if they are prepared, they're thinking about you. And I think that's kind of where we are in some of what we're doing. I think that's more of an opportunity for social media, which I agree, Sharon, I'm not good at either. We aren't doing it consistent, but Mary Beth, you've mentioned before, if you're not good at it, maybe you hire it out. And so we're focusing on some folks who are helping us so we can be more consistent on it. And they don't frankly know that it's not coming from me directly, but it's coming from us. So I think that's some of the things we're doing. So again, some of the threats are, maybe the election will have a difference. I'm sure it will if things don't go the way we expect them to go. But I think that the threat is people coming out and being afraid. I think that's got to minimize, and that's the threat that I see coming at us. And it's going to be a short-term thing because it is going to get better. So much for my rambling.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So I think for me, the threat is more the competition because I'm new and I don't have the experience everybody has because they are in the market for I don't know how many years or months. And with all of this COVID, for me, get out was kind of difficult, start my career in this situation. So I don't know.
Well, I think that there are lots of opportunities to capitalize on, just like Kirk was talking about, reaching out to the people that you know. It's more likely that you're going to have success with someone that you know versus a cold call anyway. And so, I think we have to just focus on the opportunities that are available. But I hear you. I do. All right, let's move on to the next. Oh.
Mary Beth, I just want to say something directly to Sally. Sally, I was in your shoes about 5 years ago. I know how frustrating and daunting it can be when you're new, but I will agree with what Mary Beth said is that one thing I've found is you assume people know. You send out your announcement letter or card saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent now. You might even make a phone call that says, hey, I'm a real estate agent now. But people have very short-term memory. And so if you don't keep reminding your friends in subtle ways, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, I'm here to help you. Hey, do you want to know what your house is worth? If you don't make that part of your processes, they will use other real estate agents because they have forgotten that that's what you do. So one thing that I've learned is my little posts on, social media, which I take a picture of the front of a house and say, hey, I saw this house today, just little things like that. And sending those note cards. I went through Ninja. I don't know if you have or not, but the note card that reaching out on a weekly basis or daily basis to certain people in your sphere, it really, it's brought me some referrals this year. I just went through Ninja in January or February, and I've gotten 2 referrals through those cards from people that I know, I've known for a long time, but they had forgotten, that's what I do. And those note cards have really helped. So, just those little things will help you. It's really being in front of them and reminding them, this is what I do, and this is where my passion is, and I'm here to help you.
Well, and you're also not as busy as some of the experienced agents yet. So you've got time on your hands to be more available when they do choose you. And so I think that you can turn that into a positive for them. You're hungry and you're going to work really hard for it. So thank you, Kate. I appreciate you chiming in.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay. So, next in the handouts is it's 2 pages, maybe 3, questions of just things to think about with your business. And it's just a good way to kind of get your brain in this process of thinking through where you are now. And it will help when we're putting together this business plan to have all of that kind of fresh in your brain. So if you'll take the next few minutes to start working on that, I'll give you some time now.
And Mary Beth, these questions are focused solely on business, not personal, correct?
There are a few that are a little personal, and that's okay. If you want to answer it more personally, that's fine. I'm not reading any of this. Nobody is. You answer it the way that feels good to you, because honestly, at the end of the day, if your personal life isn't where you want it, the business can't, they have to be balanced and good together. So if there is like a goal personally, feel free to put that on there or something, it can be inclusive.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause you. I don't know that we'll have time to get through all the questions, but I do want to just talk about a few of them and share. Let's see here. Okay, so number 4. Does anybody want to answer that one? What was the most important thing you learned about the business last year? And when we say last year, we mean like, you know, the last 12 months, 6 months.
I'll jump in. I feel like I'm the only one talking right now, but so to piggyback on what I just said a minute ago, what I learned through COVID is that if I stay in touch, they will reach out to me for referrals. I was just writing silly little notes every month or so to each person in my sphere of influence, and that's how I got the 2 referrals I talked about. So that was a huge lesson, because I'm writing these notes thinking this isn't going to work. This is a waste of my time. What am I going to say? And it doesn't really matter what you say. You know, it doesn't have to be about real estate. It's just, hey, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And then following up with a phone call. So, and that's what I did. And that's how I got a couple of those referrals. So, and I've never been a note writer before in my personal life or professional life. And I had heard that many, many times, and it had been on my to-do list for years. And then I took Ninja and I was like, okay, he made us do it. So we did it. And then I continued. So, and I have fallen off that bandwagon in the last month. So I need to get back on, but that's what I learned.
Excellent. That's a good thing to learn.
And Mary Beth, this is Sharon again. I don't know that I learned this specifically last year. I just see it as a part of the business, and I don't know if the right term is being nimble, being able to react and respond to the situation, whatever it might be, and doing like was just said, the consistent follow-up and staying in touch, because when the time is right, that business will come, as long as you are staying out in front of them. But an experience I had last year is I sold a house. It was over $1 million, and it was a client that I had had a few years ago, and he had moved to Cumming. And it's one of those awful feelings. I do direct mail, and when you get your newsletter back and there's a new address, this person has moved, right? And they didn't call you. So you know, but and I think that the other part of that is just not taking things personally. And I continued to stay in touch, and I wrote him a note and I said, congratulations on your new home. I hope you're very happy. And I kind of joked with him and said, the only thing you did wrong is you didn't call me. And it's interesting then, when they got ready to sell that house, they did call me. And the wife said, you know, I want to use Sharon because she was very good at customer service. And so we sold his $1 million house last year, and he asked me, and can you help me find a realtor in Texas? And I hooked him up through our relocation department, and he bought a $1.5 million house in Texas. So that referral fee came in. So I think the thing that I learned from all of this is that consistency of staying in touch, letting things roll off your back. Don't take things personally, and just and being nimble, because it can be a very unpredictable business sometime, whether it's, you know, a situation like that or whether it's the pandemic. But I think just staying consistent, staying in touch, you know, not everything works out, but you just got to keep trucking on, I think, and then things start to turn around.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you for that story. What about number 10? How did you implement technology this year to enhance your service, reach, and success?
Me. Hi, Sally. Oh my gosh, Maribeth.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, so yeah, so I create a social media. I create like a Facebook page on Instagram. So I'm posting like every day there. So I don't know. I'm using a lot the social media.
Excellent.
Follow me. Everybody, I want to see all names.
What marketing activities worked for folks this past year?
I've had some hits on social media, not directly from posts that are about listings or sales, but just generally posting. You know, I don't post every day. I can't do that. But you know, I post about once every 10 days or so. And I've gotten two people that I knew from a long time ago who messaged me to say their daughter was looking for a house and would need a realtor, or their cousin or whatever, and that they did, you know, that they didn't know a realtor. So they reached out to me, and I hadn't spoken to these people in probably 25 years. But because I was posting, I was top of mind. So that was good. And one of those has now referred me to a high-end client that's looking for $1 million plus home. So that was surprising. I've been advertising on social media for many years. I've never gotten anything. So this is just from a regular posting, you know. No, I post fun, you know, I like a door, I take a picture of it and I post it, you know, an interesting, you know, handrail, you know, I don't, just weird things that are sort of real estate related, but not really.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Cool.
I got a quick question. What advertising you did that never worked?
I have done advertising on Facebook, and it's not that expensive. And I do it when I have a listing. I do it very, you know, for probably 2 or 3 weeks. I market the age group and I market the demographic as well as the area. You know, talking about, this is my listing, give me a call if you're looking in the area to buy, blah, blah, blah. And I've never had anybody contact me directly from those ads. That doesn't mean people aren't seeing them, but I'm not seeing a result. I still do them though, because I've been told that the more you are out there, the better. But, and I have another agent that I work really closely with. She does it diligently, and she said she has had the same experience. She's never had a hit off of the social media ads, just the regular posts.
Tried the virtual open houses?
I have not.
I know a few people experimented in our office with that, and you know, mixed results. I know Donna Agello out of the North Fulton office had really great results with the way she was doing it on social media, Facebook Live. So anyway, just
okay,
different things to think about and to try.
When you look at social media as a whole, it's become more and more important than ever that we really stay on top of social media. We had a social media class this morning, and it was pretty interesting because she brought out some not new things as much as what we should be doing with social media and the way we should be posting and the way we should be using the media itself. So I thought, you know, it's a good idea to be on top of that. The second thing is, you know, real estate is not dead. You know, I don't know who made the comment earlier, but things, yes, they have slowed down a little bit, but things are still selling out there, and things are selling like crazy. Just about everyone in my office is busy. I'm busy. So, you know, no reason to give up or to think that the world is coming to an end. Even if the election doesn't go your way, it's still going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be okay.
Yeah,
Also,
I was
Mary
actually,
Beth,
yes, hi.
sorry, this is Helen Johnson. I've been using the CRM at the Harry Norman website. I've been using the holiday e-cards, and I noticed that it does help a lot in getting into contact with your clients. And actually, I'm having clients calling me looking at property, and I've had this one client that I've just been sending him e-cards, and he finally told his wife, give Holland a call about that lake house that we want to see. And we're actually taking a look into it now.
Holland, this is Jill Gottebush, and I cannot agree more about the holiday e-cards. I think they're just a really cute, non-invasive way to keep your name and brand out there with your client or with potential clients and customers. And it's funny, I get the out of offices, people who've, left the job, changed the job, retired. I get comments from people back to me as if I sent it just to them. And so I find them to be very effective and fairly easy to do and schedule out. And one thing I would improve is that next year, I want to do a better job of scheduling cards for the 1-year anniversaries for my clients too, because I think that's another easy, low-hanging fruit to pick.
Oh, definitely.
That's a good point. And what I was thinking about the e-cards and any of the marketing. It's so many times I find, with a few exceptions, you can't really say, well, this deal came specifically from this source. And I've always heard marketing is referred to as slow water torture. So it's like that constant drip, drip, drip on the brain. And so the more places that your prospects or your sphere of influence sees you, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, they get something in the mail, they get your note cards. It's kind of like all of those things combined together. As somebody else was saying earlier, you get forgotten if you don't stay in front of them. So I think it's just that culmination of hitting your target market or your sphere in a lot of different ways so that you are remembered.
Now, I really love this conversation and I love it. But we're going to move on. If you didn't finish filling out all of the reflection questions, I would encourage you to do so. I think that it'll just make your brain go into all those different directions. And so when you're putting your business plan together, it will be like having this conversation more. So great job. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the why. The why is the foundation. The how is your business plan, and then what is the day-to-day business activities. And so we were in that discussion, kind of talking about those day-to-day business activities to gain more business. But I want to, before we get too far down that path, I do want to talk about this foundational part, the why. Simon Sinek is a real thought leader in this area, and this is his quote: "Products or services with a clear sense of why give people a way to tell the outside world who they are and what they believe. Remember, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it." Okay. And I'm gonna, hopefully this video is going to work. Let me know if you can't hear it, okay? I can't hear it.
worked. It just made me hate it even more. And then finally, when I was about 18 or so, I started to find
Y'all can't hear it, can you?
No, we can, Mary Beth.
I can hear it. Oh, okay. Well, I will be quiet and let it play.
to inspire me to read, and it never worked. It just made me hate it even more. And then finally, when I was about 18 or so, I started to find mentors, most of them online, and they were able to inspire me to read almost instantly. And now I can't even imagine a life where I don't read. So what was the difference between my teachers who tried to inspire me to read for 12 years and failed constantly, and my mentors who were able to do it in basically no time? Well, here it is in the context of the golden circle. My teacher started with the what. You have to read this classic. This is a great book. You have to. Then they sometimes went to the how and said, this is how you read it. But that was it. There was no why. The funny thing is, if I'd asked, why should I read it? They would probably get angry and start yelling. How could you ask a stupid question like that? What do you mean, why should you read a classic? And that anger would mostly come from the fact that they haven't really thought about the why. So they can't really clearly articulate it. Most people, and even most organizations, don't really know why they do what they do. But how are my mentors different from my teachers at school? They had successful relationships, they had success in their businesses, and they said, look, do you want your girlfriend to be attracted to you? Do you want to build a successful business? Do you want to create powerful relationships instead of always getting your emails ignored just like everyone else? And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. And they were like, okay, good, then pick up a book. Oh, and by the way, How to Win Friends and Influence People is a great book. So is The Way of the Superior Man. And I picked up both of those books and read them, and now reading is an inseparable part of my life. That is how great leaders inspire action. Everybody starts from the what, and most people never even get to the why. Most people create a product and they want to tell you about all the amazing features and specifications. They want to tell you about how these features work so well. But the truth is, most people don't care about your what and how. Most people don't want to be told the exact measurements of your CPU. They don't want to be told how the little chips interact with each other so amazingly. They want to be told something like this: we value efficiency just like you do. Here's how we can help you be more efficient. And here's a product that will help you achieve exactly that. And that's exactly what I want to buy. If you tell me my company's going to be more efficient, I want to know more. If you tell me how great your newest chip is, I don't really care. So again, most people start from the what and never even get to the why. You're not going to make that mistake. You're going to know your why, and you're going to start with it because you realize that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Okay. I'm glad that y'all could hear that, because I couldn't, but I know I've watched it many times, so I know what it says. I think that if you can wrap your head around this concept of the why, it really can help propel your business forward, because it allows you to really focus on foundationally what is important to you and your business. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick exercise that helps narrow down some words that might help you put together that why for you. And does everybody have the core values handout? It should be in the file that I sent earlier.
I have it, but the font's so small I can't read it.
Well, the same exact words are on the screen. So, okay, looks like people have this. Okay, good. All right, so words and look at the definitions, just kind of glance over them, kind of get a general feeling for what the words on the page say, and then we're going to start the activity in just a second. All right, so with your pen or pencil, just mark 10 of them that speak to you. You know, which ones are the ones that you find valuable in the whole group? So mark 10. Okay, now take those 10 and write the most important 5 of them to you over on the right-hand side of the page. Just, you know, just make a short list. Choose 5 that are important to you. All right, now circle your favorite 2 of the 5. These are the most important 2 that you have. Okay, now which one out of those 2 is the most important to you? You couldn't live without it.
Family.
Family. Awesome. Anybody else want to share?
Family.
Family also.
Family.
I'll share with you. Mine is relationship. I think you can't go wrong. There's lots of good words on this list.
Yeah.
But the point is that when you can really identify what is most important to you, what drives you, what really, you know, if everything else goes away, what's going to stand above the rest? When you communicate that to a client or to anyone out there looking to use a realtor, and I'm not saying you like put your word on your website, that's not what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying we can talk about how to do this, but when you communicate that your word is family, or you communicate that your word is relationship to someone out there in the interwebs of the internet, and they have the same word, they are automatically drawn to you. And it is an amazing connection that doesn't have anything to do about other demographics. It doesn't have anything to do with where you live or what your specialty is. But when all these things line up, and it just kind of creates that internal connection with why. Like, why would I want to work with this person? Well, if they value family like I value family, or they value relationship like I do, then it's just kind of that instant connection that you have with somebody that you can't explain, but it makes for a really nice, certainly real estate transaction. So the next activity is to really think through that core value word and write a why statement that really gets to the heart of what you're doing here. What gets you motivated? What makes you want to write all these notes to people that you know? What makes you want to call them on the phone? What makes you show property at 8 o'clock at night when you'd rather be, you know, with your spouse? or your grandkids or whatever the case may be. Like it's this statement that can kind of help you get through some of that. So we'll go through just a few points on this topic. So here's some examples of other companies and what their why statements are. So Airbnb's why: to connect millions of people in real life all over the world through a community marketplace so that you can belong anywhere, because traveling could and should be so much more intimate than staying at hotels. Warby Parker: to create a world where everyone can see clearly, stylishly, and at affordable prices, because stylish eyewear shouldn't have to cost an arm and a leg. Uber: transportation as reliable as running water everywhere for everyone, because it stinks to be stranded without easy access to reliable transportation. So you can kind of see how these are integral statements as to why these businesses are in place, why they're there, and what they do. This is an example of my why from when I was an agent. And just to kind of give you a real estate one, our aim is to be our client's trusted real estate advisor because we genuinely care. We're helpful and knowledgeable about the process in the Atlanta real estate market. We think there can be a win-win experience for each client from start to finish. And I started with the 3 words: genuine, knowledgeable, and helpful, and used those words to create my why. You see how they're weaved in there? It's not saying I'm helpful, I'm knowledgeable. It's creating a statement that shows who you are and what you want to accomplish, and is also inspiring not only to yourself, but to others. And it helps create that connection. So these are some really good questions when you're developing your why and thinking through this to ask yourself: who do I most want to help and why? What problem do I want to solve for them? How will solving this problem make an impact on their lives? And what solution do I want most want to provide for them? In the handout, there is kind of a worksheet that you can work through with these questions, and I would encourage you to think about your word, think about these questions and how they marry together, and as kind of working through it, there may be quite a few revisions, but it's really a helpful exercise to start with as you're starting your business plan.
Can I say something, Mary Beth?
Yes, yes, sir.
Actually, when you go back to the core values, the words that we have there on that list, and you go back to the last 5 you chose, okay, you can pretty much implement every one of them into the story you're trying to come up with right now, because that's where you are. Those are the top 5 things. Incorporate them into your story and you've got it.
I love it. Yeah, I do. That's wonderful. Okay, so the why, once you've got it kind of figured out and written down and in place, it can really serve 2 purposes, maybe more, but these 2 purposes for sure. To inspire others. It can be that key component of your biography to give people that are looking at it a sense of how to connect with you and if they will connect with you. And if your why resonates with them, it just sets that stage for a great relationship that lasts for your career and not just one and done. And then you can use your why to inspire your goals. Like your why will be that motivation, help you be energized about your work and your business and why you're there. Any questions about the why at this point? No? Okay. All right, so we're going to jump into the business plan, the structure of that. So just in a nutshell, if you think of the business plan as one main objective at the top, 3+ goals to achieve the objective, and 5+ strategies for reaching each goal. And so each of the smaller things roll up to the next level and then go up to the next level. And I have 3+ and 5+, but truly you want to get, with the goals, you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to start adding 15 here because you won't have enough bandwidth and focus to get one of them done, and then nothing will get done. So I would suggest certainly limiting it to 2 or 3 things that support that main objective. And then as you get them accomplished, then you can revise. This is a living, breathing thing. It's not really ever done. So you just can add on things later. You can kind of have a notepad over to the side that says, okay, these are things that I'll do later when I have accomplished the first ones. But they all go towards that same main objective. Okay, so to explain the main objective, this can be any inspiration that motivates you. It doesn't have to be money, but it can be. I think, you know, most of us see this as a business, and so no matter what we're wanting to make our money for, we still have to make the money. And so that might be a good place to start. I would say that you want to at least cover these the following categories: your personal expenses, business expenses, retirement, and taxes. And while, you know, there may be another situation in your life where you're not the breadwinner and you're not having to cover all of these expenses, but just, you know, keep that in mind, whatever that bar needs to be for you. And I would also encourage you to really boil this down, like figure out what the money is, and then let's figure out what that corresponding number of units of homes sold is. So I'm going to show you how to do that math so that you can figure that out. Oh, I noticed when Terry sent out the handout that the Excel file that I sent did not come through, but I'll forward that to you, because what it is it is like an expense list, and it gives you all the ideas of what to put in for your expenses. And then because it's an Excel file, it adds it all up for you. So it's just a little easier if you've got that file. Okay, so this is just an example, but I think it helps illustrate how to figure out what your unit goal should be, if that, you know, if we're looking at this from a money perspective, what your unit goal should be. Okay, so let's say that, let's pick a number, $5 million in volume. That's, you know, adding up all of the sales prices of the homes that you sell, and that's $5 million in volume. And you multiply that by the average commission of 3% on our side, and that would be $150,000 in gross earnings. You've got to pay for FMLS. Of course, if you're at a different office, you know, I think there's some people here from Luxury Lake and Mountain and things like that. So you may have different fees to consider. But if you're paying FMLS, that's what that is. And so you subtract the FMLS fees to get that 144 number. And then you need to multiply by your split, you know, whatever your split is with Harry Norman. And so your net commission would be $100,800 if all of those assumptions that I have in there are correct, and you had done the $5 million in volume. Okay, so the first question to ask is this $100,800 enough to cover all of your expenses that you need for the year? And if so, then that can be an appropriate, workout. But if it's not enough, then you'll want to increase the volume and redo the numbers so that you get to a net commission number that you feel comfortable with that covers your expenses. Okay. So once you've decided that, yes, I like the $5 million number, that's what my volume goal is going to be, then you can divide that by your average sales price. And you can go back and look at your particular average sales price. That's really helpful if you have that information. But if you don't, you can, like if you haven't been in the business long enough or something like that, you can ask your broker what your office's average sales price is. And East Cobb's is about 400,000. So that's why I put that in there. And you can divide that volume by your average sales price, and voila, you have your total number of units that you would need to sell to cover your expenses. Does that all make sense? Okay, so I believe that the unit number, that 12.5, is what is kind of best for that first main objective at the top of your business plan, because that's a number that you can kind of chip away at during the year. You can track it very easily. Not the 12 number, the fact that you're talking about units of homes. And so that's why I wanted to show you how to get there, to see, because I just feel like volume is something that is influenced obviously by your sales price, and it's kind of hard to make a goal around your net commission number that you need. So, okay. All right, so your 3 supporting goals to help support that main objective of, let's, for example, say that your goal is to sell 12.5 units. They need to be SMART goals. And that's an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And there is, in part of the handout, a goal exam sheet. And it basically takes you through the questions that you need to ask about your goal to make sure that it follows this acronym. So for example, say you want to do a goal about social media and you feel like that's something that you really want to focus on this year, and you feel like that's going to increase your units sold. Well, the goal that you put in the blank is not, quote, social media. Social media doesn't answer the question, well, what's specific about that? Specifically, what are you going to do on social media? Which platform are you going to use? Okay, so I'm gonna post on Instagram. That's what I've decided that I'm going to do. It's measurable. I'm going to post on Instagram once a day. It's attainable. Can I realistically do that every day with my time? Am I going to be able to carve out the time to do that? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? Will it help me? From other information that I have, whether talking to my mentor or my broker, is that a good goal to set for myself? Will it, satisfy the goal? And time bound, I'm going to do 1 Instagram post a day for 6 months. That's when you do, that's the time bound piece. So when you write that goal, you got to really be thoughtful in making sure that it hits all of these points. And when it does, that's a really beautiful thing, because then you can measure it and track it along the way. All right, and then 5 strategies that support that goal. So let's take the Instagram example. Maybe you need to put it into your calendar. You can put that as part of your strategy, to put it in your calendar as a reminder every day at a specific time. Maybe it is, I need to sign up for Keeping Current Matters, because that's a website that has really good real estate information, and I can use that to think of things to say on Instagram, so I'm not pulling things, you know, out of the air. So those are the types of things that you write in there. What are the specific things that you're going to do to help accomplish that goal that you've set for yourself? Okay, so you've got a, I think it looks a little different. The formatting is a little bit different, but generally speaking, you've got a handout that looks like this. You've got the one main objective at the top. That would be your 12.5 units. What would go in this space right here is post to Instagram 1 time a day for 6 months. That's right there. And then this is where you would put in your strategies of, I'm going to put it into my calendar, and I'm going to, you know, subscribe to Keeping Current Matters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what you put in there. Okay. So this is an example of one that's kind of filled out, and just gives you, you know, if you're having a hard time wrapping your brain around that, that's what that looks like. And if I haven't said it yet, I do want to just say again that business planning is a organic thing. It's something you come back to, and you can revise. But putting it onto paper really does help, because then you have something to go back to and to measure yourself against. So it's really helpful to put it in writing like this. Okay, and then I've just put kind of a list of different strategy examples just to give you an idea of everything here. So I think hopefully that explains sort of how to go about this. Okay, and then one other concept I just wanted to make sure we hit on is that I see your business success kind of revolving around these 3 circles. You've got your sphere of influence, the people that you have, you know, on your list, that you're, you know, making an effort to interact with and form that relationship with. You've got marketing that's going out either on social media or a postcard or you name it, whatever your marketing is. And then you've got your involvement, whether that's at church or your community or just going to family events, you know, whatever your involvement is in your community. And where these circles overlap is more likely to be a better lead for you, a better connection, just a more long-term person that is going to do business with you. So, and then where all 3 of them overlap is really the sweet spot. So as you're thinking through, what are my strategies that I'm going to implement? Think through who's in your sphere. What marketing can you do that's going to hit the people that you're involved with on a regular basis? And as you come up with those different strategies that hit all 3 of these, the the more viable they are, because they're hitting basically, you know, they're doing more bang for the buck for you when they overlap like this. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And then once you have that 1-3-5 plan written out, it does not go in the drawer. You want to put it onto your calendar. And this is really a way to make sure that you have enough time to accomplish it all, energy, budget, the whole 9 yards. So if you don't hear anything else that I have to say today, think through this. For the plan to be successful, it has to be implemented consistently. Just like Kate was talking about earlier, how earlier in the year she was consistent at doing the notes. That is exactly what I'm talking about. For the plan to really work and take hold, you have to be consistent with it throughout. And so you don't want to try something for 2 weeks and then pull back because you're like, I don't know, that's seeming like a waste of time, because you just haven't given it enough time to mature. If it's truly a good idea, it will come together. So all that on your calendar really helps space it out so that you're not, you know, burned out. Also, if like a normal year, normally you're busy in April and May, like crazy busy. Everybody is. Don't plan for client appreciation parties for April and May. That would not be a smart thing to do, but maybe do it for November, because you're not as busy then. So that's why it's really important to get it on the calendar. Additionally, you want to share the plan, and I would say that I will just go ahead and speak for all of the brokers in our company. They would jump up and down and love you and hug you if you came to them with your plan. They would love to help you with this, whether it's in process or you have it all completely nailed down and you're ready to go with it. This is one of the main things that we're here to help you with, and we love this kind of stuff. So share it with your broker if you feel comfortable, your mentor if you still have one, you know, officially through Harry Norman, or just a friend in the office, or your spouse. It doesn't even have to be a real estate person, but sharing the plan helps with accountability, and they can be your cheerleader throughout, and just helps keep it top of mind. Okay, and tracking really helps with this whole process. Some people have never tracked before, ever, and so they might have 15 years worth of real estate data that they don't really know what is there. Like, they experienced it, they did the work, but once it's put onto paper and you're keeping up with specific things, patterns really emerge, and every year it will become more rich in value. So if you're to the point where you're a new agent, I'm going to go ahead and give you some advice. Please go ahead and track from the beginning. It seems like kind of a silly exercise when you don't have anything to put on the paper yet, but know that as soon as that first sale happens, you want to write it all down and make sure that you're tracking it from now on. If you've been in the business a long time, don't feel like this is an obstacle to overcome overnight. That's not worth the time and energy, but either start now and just move forward with every transaction that you have, or you can go back 6 months, you can go back 18 months. It doesn't matter how much information, the more you have, the better, but don't let that be the stumbling block. But I would encourage you to go ahead and start. And I'm just going to show you what mine looked like that I kept up with, but I don't want this to overwhelm you. I am a nerd. I will just go ahead and tell you that. And I did this for 14 years, and this is a 14-year-old document that I opened up every single week and really worked on it. So it's not, like it didn't happen overnight. So, okay, so this is just a snapshot of what that spreadsheet looked like and what I was capturing to track. So out of view is their name over to the left and their actual address. But, or no, address is still on here. But anyway, I was keeping track of buyer and seller. Was it a condo or a single family home? What county was it in? What neighborhood? When it closed, the purchase price, how much I made, and then where the lead came from. And then just, I was kind of interested in a few different categories over here. Like, was it Georgia Tech related? Because that was a main source of my business. Or was it home buyer seminar related? Or was it farm related? Were they first timers? So I'll give you a quick example. I know we're short on time, but I'll give you an example of kind of how this really worked for me. So I got in the business right after college and graduated, thought that I knew and had a job lined up. And 2 weeks before graduation, they said, no, in fact, not only do you not have a job, but we really think you need to do something else with your life. And 3 months later, I got my real estate license, and that is how I got into real estate. Never had any sort of conceived notions that I would do that. I thought I was going into industrial design. Anyway, so the only people that I knew were people that I went to college with. Not a single person that I knew when I put my database together, except for my aunt and uncle that lived in Peachtree City, owned their home. They were all renting. And so that's who was on my list. And then I purchased a home myself. And so I started farming the neighborhood that I was living in. And I was spending about $3,000 a year on farming. So fast forward 3 years, and I'm spending all this money farming. I've had 3 leads, 2 sales out of the farming. And I've had 45 closings from the Georgia Tech people. And having it written down and just in, a way that I could kind of track that, finally I was like, oh my gosh, why am I spending $3,000 a year getting 1 or 2 leads when I could move that money down to Georgia Tech and capitalize on even more of the business down at Georgia Tech? And so I think probably one day I would have figured it out on my own. I would have thought, okay, yeah, maybe this isn't what it's cracked up to be. But having it in the spreadsheet and having it in a place where I could look at it and see what the patterns were really helped me make that business decision with my business plan. And it totally changed the course of my business. So that's why I feel really strongly about tracking. And just personally, if I was having a bad day, I would go and look at this and think, you know what, I've got a lot to be thankful for, and we're this close to this goal, and we just got a little bit more to go. Or, you know what, I need to get busy. I got a lot to do. And here's the proof. So anyway, feel free to use that strategy if that speaks to you. So these are the things, to just kind of, if you need a list of what to track, these are some good things dependent on your business. I would also encourage you to track like your prospecting and marketing, because the time and money and energy that you put into all of this is just as important as, the idea of doing it. Because some things take a whole lot more time and energy than others. And then, of course, it's all got to make sense budget-wise. Okay. So that is the end of the material. Do we have any questions or things to talk about?
Mary Beth, this is Stephanie. This was
Hi.
absolutely fabulous information. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful.
I've enjoyed this a lot. Thank you. I will start implementing several things.
Oh, good. Wonderful.